Aquinas' arguments of movement. There had to be a first mover, one who's unmoved but creates an almost infinite motion that can only be stopped by said mover, or God. That mover being God. And what this picture depicts is God setting everything into motion. The stories of the Bible, Genesis to the death and resurrection of Jesus. Aquinas' arguments of causation. Nothing can cause itself. Something has to cause everything to happen. That something, or someone, being God. I choose, this picture depicts the butterfly effect. The butterfly being God, and everyone knows how the effect works. So, the butterfly is depicting God creating wind, which creates a tornado, destroying this village. Aquinas' arguments of possibility and necessity. Nothing is infinite. Something had to start the cycle of life and death, and it couldn't just have always been. That someone being God. God had started the cycle of life and death. This picture also depicts, as you can see, it's an infinity symbol broken, showing that nothing is infinite, and nothing can last forever. Aquinas' arguments of gradation of being. Some things are found to have gradation, or some things are better than others. The best thing being God, and the worst thing being something that is not God. So, this is a little scale. Number 5 being the best, so number 5 being God. And number 1 being the worst. So number 1 is something that is not God, something that is bad. This mostly just explains how we gratify ourselves and give ourselves a degree by God, saying that God is the best and most pure and most right thing in the world. So this is more or less, this is the best being God, this is the worst being us. Aquinas' arguments of design. Everything in a natural body strives towards a goal all lacking the knowledge to reach that goal, until we are helped by God himself to find our way. Now, I drew this because it shows, God is the archer, shooting us towards our goal, because we are this bow, we are this arrow. He's shooting us with the bow towards our goal, so that we can make it. God's grand design is to help us in our way, in our path, in whatever way he can. And in this way, it's shooting us towards our target.
Hi, my name is Braden Kester-Regan, and this is Scriptural Interpretation. I drew a quill and writing because the Bible is written in a lot of different ways. It can be written in stories, poems, or first person. I drew a cross for God's meaning of most of the passages in the Bible. For the 4 senses, literal, I didn't draw a picture because I don't really think there's a picture that can describe the literal sense. And for literal sense and a story, I chose the story of Peter walking on water with Jesus. Allegorical, I put the definition, what symbolizes Jesus in the Bible. I put a fire because a fire can be a symbol of the Holy Spirit. And allegorical sense in the story about Peter in the water, I put the Eucharist because I couldn't really draw Jesus, so I drew him as the Eucharist. The moral sense is the lesson that can be learned from the Bible. I drew a Bible because I didn't know what else to draw for moral. And for the story, I put a heart because if you have faith in God, he will save you. Anagogical, I put for the definition, how we can get into heaven. And in the story, Peter walking on water, he trusted God, and so he was able to walk on water with him. Thank you.
This is the story of salvation, basically, and And what it is it is a story of God and man, and how God is trying to save man. It's basically a story, and it is the purpose of our foundation of our spiritual beliefs and mission, and how we're saved in different words. It is the story told over thousands of years of how God tried to rescue us from sin and evil and return us to Himself. And it starts with Adam and Eve. And Adam and Eve were the first two people. And before Adam and Eve, nothing was really there except like a couple of things. And what happened is that they lived in this garden of happiness, I guess. And they could do whatever they want, and God just loved them and let them do whatever they want. And then one day there was this snake that told them to eat an apple from a forbidden tree God told them not to eat from. They ate it, they got kicked out, and then that's how this all started. Basically, why we have sin and all that, because Adam and Eve decided to eat an apple from a forbidden tree a snake told them to eat it from. And over here is where we kind of learn about just basically where we learn it from. We can either learn it from like church, like right here, reading the Bible, and like going to adoration, and then and a couple other things could be like a class, like a religion class basically. And again, God tries to save us, and we keep on ruining it and all that. And then He tries to return us to Himself. And basically that's the story of salvation history.